We visited the famous Tequila Fortaleza in the town of Tequila again after a long time. It has been 8 or 9 years. So let me tell you how this visit went. Let's start in the beginning, the booking. I reached out to them via the Contact Us form, as the people I knew I could reach out to no longer work there. At first, I was informed that the way to book the tour without a hassle is via the website, an option that didn't exist back in the days. Shortly after, another Fortaleza staff member reached out, asked a few questions, and he said we were eligible for an industry discount, which meant we could do the tour free of charge and we got booked in properly. Despite how famous the brand became, it was a nice touch that they still treat people from the industry with extra care. They have 2 tour options, the Abuelo, grandfather, and the Bisabuelo, or great-grandfather tour. And the way it was described to us is that the Bisabuelo tour lets you take an extra 1-hour walk around the Fortaleza estate for an extra 200 pesos. I think if you're up for a nice walk among palm trees and hiking a bit, it can be worth the extra cost as the estate is beautiful. One of the nicest in the industry you will see. There has been a lot of work and improvement done in the past years, and it shows. They offer tours both in English and Spanish. The tour started at the Black Door. There are quite a few entrances, and it may be tricky to figure out which one comes first. However, even the map marker shows the Black Door. Don't worry if you get lost, the staff will help you find the right one. We too rang in the wrong door first, but in no time we were directed to the correct entrance. After a quick and short check-in, where we were given our nice white armband and the bottle of water. Fortaleza is one of the few distilleries where they know water is great to have around. They even have some filling stations during the tour, so keep your eyes open when your bottle is getting empty. I missed them entirely, only Andy was sharp enough to spot them. We were told to sit at a nice terrace till the tour begins. There were quite a few other people signed up for the tour, so it seemed we won't be alone for this one. We already made some friends when we were looking for the entrance gate. The tour was in English since the majority of the visitors came from the US. Well, everyone except for us, of course. First, we checked out their bottle warehouse, where we were shown that the Los Abuelos label is still painted on every single bottle. Hint, Fortaleza started out as Los Abuelos, but ended up having trademark issues with the rum named Abuelo. Hence, it's called Fortaleza. Then we left the compound behind the Black Gate and entered the classic Sauza family estate ground. Not to be misunderstood with Sauza Distillery, the family sold the distillery decades ago, but kept and renovated their family estate. We were walking around in a very beautiful and stunning estate. It was hard to keep up and not to stop in every minute to take photos, at least for my wife Andy. She could have spent hours just walking there. First, we walked towards the lake, and our tour guide Estrella told us that the lake's water is coming from the nearby famous volcano. Then we climbed up quite a few steps and reached the Mirador, or lookout tower, one of the highest points of the town of Tequila. The view is truly breathtaking from here. The town, the fields, trees, the surrounding hills. Then we walked all the way down to reach the old distillery. It was such a nice hike walking on the side of the hill of cactuses and rocks. We could see Grano Rendain, distillery we visited and documented just a few weeks before. You can check out that visit too. Outside the distillery on the patio, same as years ago, there was a pile of agaves resting, waiting to be cooked. Then, inside this old, small and charming distillery, we were introduced with the Taona and were explained the evolution from donkey to tractor to simple wheel. The famous Taona. For Fortaleza fans, I'm sure it's nothing new, but for those who newly discovered Fortaleza, This brand does every batch of their tequila with this small taona. This is one of the reasons why it's so limited and hard to come by. We then received a quick explanation on how the stills worked and got to even try the tequila at still strength fresh off the still. Yummy! The next stop was the famous Tequila Cave. A cave they have on property and very smartly designed to the tequila tasting. Here we got to try all Fortaleza expressions: Blanco, Reposado, Añejo, and the still strength Blanco. The pours were generous. The cave was cool, so let's do some tequila tasting. I enjoy their Blanco, especially the still strength. To be fair, the way I remember, it used to be much softer back in the days. Now it was quite spicy with lots of herbal notes. The hallmarks of a tequila made of agaves from the Tequila Valley. I prefer this newer batch to the older, softer ones. It's a personal preference. On the other hand, I found the Reposado and Añejo tequilas to be a bit more whiskey style oriented compared to the older versions. I talked to some of the other visitors and they all happen to be huge bourbon fans and they clear their glasses with ease. So if you're a bourbon fan, you will likely enjoy these aged versions of Fortaleza. There was a lot of presentation slides during the tasting. I enjoyed the final parts the best about the history of the Sauza family and bits about the owner, Guillermo Sauza. After the cave, we saw the actual manual bottling process of the house. Then we visited the famous little workshop making those small caps all by hand. It was so cool to watch how these handmade caps are born one by one. As the last step of the tour, we then visited the barrel room and we were told that there are some more barrels at another part of the estate. After the barrel room, Estrella took us to a place where we could get coffee or some food, and that was the end of the tour. We walked back to the Black Gate compound to check out the gift shop. The gift shop of Fortaleza features all 4 expressions for a very reasonable price. Apart from this, the gift shop was very much clothing oriented. It was the first time I ever saw a sock. In a sense, the only thing I didn't see was jeans. Otherwise, you can dress up almost entirely with Fortaleza branded shirt, baseball cap, socks, and you can even get a cool leather jacket. And if you happen to have a motorbike, you can get a nice branded cover for your registration number. Hint, the owner Guillermo is a biker. And the most unexpected part that while wandering around the shop, a kind elderly woman approached us and said she had a gift for us. At first we didn't understand, but then she told us that since we are from the industry, she has a nice little gift for us, and we both got a nice and cool Fortaleza t-shirt, guys. Which is really cool. Truly a great and nice touch from the brand we appreciated. Here is a t-shirt, guys. Pretty cool. So would I recommend visiting Fortaleza? As with many other distilleries, I am biased. They always treated us well here, even though we have always worked more with distilleries from the Los Altos region where we live. However, let me try and put on my objective lens, if it's possible. You just get much more from visiting Fortaleza than you would from any other distilleries in Tequila Town. You get to see a nice estate, the famous cave, the little hand workshop making the caps, and the town's only taona that is actually in production likely all the time. If you value quality over quantity, you will find Fortaleza is a great distillery to visit and get to know. Cheers!